Get the Tascam going. Okay. How's the battery in the laptop thing? Okay, we're good. Alright. Maybe if I just untangled this cord. Actually, yeah. If I just lay back, honestly, I could I think that'd be fun. Yeah. I look cozy. Alright. Yeah, that's too much. Okay. See, now I feel like I'm okay. Yeah, I'm not doing that. Hey, welcome to, this movie called I Want to Leave, which, as we speak, if we want to pretend like this is another one of my films where I'll do kind of like a ARG, live installation sort of a thing happening with it, the IMDb, or sorry, not IMDb, because I don't think I have it on IMDb yet, but the Letterboxd description of this is something along the lines of a guy shows up to a party, and something happens, something bad happens, or whatever. And then the poster specifically reads that this is the, I want to say, the 6th feature film by Joel Warren, which I am mad at myself for having done. And I also put that on the poster for my last film that should be out by now, Olive Garden the movie, the 5th feature film by Joel Warren. I've locked myself into that now. Now I'm not going to lock myself into the synopsis of what this movie was supposed to be. So anyway, by the way, yes, I'm aware I'm recording on a low-quality web camera. That's the point of this. It is currently 6 o'clock, roughly, Mountain Time, here on whatever date it is right now. Let me see. I'll get the exact. It is currently 6:08 on Sunday, March 2nd, Mountain Time, specifically, meaning that the Oscars are probably going on right now, I think. Sean Baker's probably going to win Best Director and Best Picture for Nora and everything. That's just my bet. I don't want to talk too much about the Oscars, though, but I would like to shout out Sean Baker, because if anybody within the mainstream is going to champion independent film and truly actually mean it, not just be pick up a camera kind of a person, it'll probably be Sean Baker. He's actually a good guy who has essentially made folk films before. So he's, and by the way, your ability to be a good person is not dependent on whether or not you're a folk filmmaker or a mainstream filmmaker. I didn't mean to imply that, but anyway. By the way, to those of you who found this film through the Oscars Challenge playlist, this is not just going to be a me talking movie. At least I hope it's not going to be. So it's 6 o'clock. I should have started at 5. And the thing is that I did. But I got a ton of stuff that I did not like. I did not like where this is going. Got rambly, got all this stuff. So I'm I still have time. I can shoot a good amount of footage in time to whatever. I'm a big believer in the feature-length film format, and I do not care about, that was boring, what was the point, because I like padding runtime with a bunch of nonsense that if you want to skip through, you can, you know? Anyway, Tascam is peaking, by the way, probably. It's not going to be me in the car. This is just like an introduction kind of a thing, and we'll see where this goes. Anyway, shot a ton of footage and got this, not really a ton of footage, but like got a decent amount of audio recordings and like 2 shots done, and I wasn't a fan of them. So we'll see. I do want to incorporate them into the film somehow, but I pulled off into this parking lot. I'm like, I'm starting over. But I do want to acknowledge the failure of the situation thus far. But it's not a failure. This is the movie now. We're in the movie territory. Okay. 6 minutes in, basically. I want to introduce myself to anybody who doesn't know who I am. My name is Joel Warren. I'm a folk filmmaker. I am a theme park person. Like, I just enjoy theme parks. Immersive art, immersive theater, ARGs, avant-garde installations of architecture, temporary experiences where you could just put a thing in a place and there's like a screen showing a thing, whatever. All I'm saying is I'm a big like art is fluid person, and movies don't have to be what, you know, movies are to other people to be a movie. But I'm also not like an insurrectionary, like everything that you do has to be this grandiose statement of how important you are and how you're the first person to have ever done a thing, because most likely you are not. I'm not the first person to have done a meta film where I just kind of talk to the camera, especially during this Oscars challenge. Like, there's plenty of people who have done that, and some of them are great. Some of them are like, you know, I'm a little, maybe not whatever the discussing or something maybe isn't the most interesting thing in the world or something. Not to tear any of those people down, just be like, not all art is for everyone, and that's the point. So I'm just a big art is fluid person, and I want to kind of talk about how I got to that place, how I got to this place, anyway, we'll get into it. So I have right here with me 4 DVDs. Keep in mind the date that I noted, because as I speak to the camera, I only have 4 feature films released into the world, which is a lot for like a 21-year-old kid. You know, I'm not. That's like a lot. Most people don't have a feature film tied to their name in the world, period. Let alone, you know, 21-year-old and even filmmakers. Most once again, gonna get to the place. I'm gonna story my life through my feature films. So that is essentially to say that my life started in 2018 with the release of Back in the Deli Department. That is false, but yes, Back in the Deli Department. This is my first feature film. I make DVDs, but I don't like I'm not an advocate for like I'm an advocate for physical media, but I am not. I'm a big environmentalist. I'm also in a car. I should mention this. This is like a huge piece of all of this. Please. I'm not like I feel a lot of guilt, a lot of environmental guilt, a lot of stuff. So like even stuff like I'm gonna print my own DVDs for my own movie, just like 1 copy or something, or print on demand or something. Like I feel awful. So just so you know, that's the kind of weight that I'm holding in my hand right now, is that I printed this. Like, I went through a company to print this, and I'm ashamed of it. In the same way that I'm ashamed of the movie itself. This is very incoherent to anybody who doesn't know me. If you know me, you kind of know some of this and whatever. But yeah, Back in the Deli Department, my first feature film, 2018. You know, I'll show the disc art too. I'll show the inside. Got, you know, a little insert there and everything. Yeah, Back in the Deli Department here. Anyway, this is my first film, my first feature film, but really my first attempt at being like, I'm a filmmaker, you know, and not just being like, I'm making YouTube videos, like really being able to distinguish that I can just make a movie if I want to, and there's nothing stopping me. So anyway, 2018, this was made in accordance with a installation that I had going at the time called Shell Feels. At the time it was called Shel Silverstein Feels. To those of you who know which Feels pages were, I promise you, if you didn't hear of Shell Feels, It was not like the other films, but it was not like the other boys. And people have told us that, like, it was me. I ran primarily the whole thing, but then I had plenty of great admins, mostly friends of mine that, or at least people that were either established friends of mine or people that became close friends of mine. And yeah, just a great crew running this, like, it was a post irony page before post irony truly took off. And we ended the thing on October 26th, 2022, which, like, I had set ahead of time. There was lore. It truly was a live installation of transmedia art. It was not like just like I'm gonna post memes kind of a thing. Even though we did do that a little bit, but, like, you know, there was lore, there was stuff going on. Back in the Dollar Department was a piece of that. Not a great movie, especially isolated if you don't know what Shellfields was or anything, but, like, it's just a nice little time capsule of the time that, like, Shellfields was kind of trying to find its footing and how I was trying to find my footing as a filmmaker. We then move into 2020s. I tried making this in 7th grade, and I think the back of the box actually states this pretty well because I got this printed pretty recently. It says, "My name is Joel Warren. I made/finished this movie in 2020. 2025, I made this DVD. As I type this, I feel torn. I feel torn about the environmental impact of printing physical media, and I feel torn about the film's quality. Plus, it doesn't help that some jokes in this movie aged terribly, as you might expect from a film made by a 7th grader, revisited years later, and then released on a DVD even later. This film has been a plague on my life for a large chunk of said life, yet here I am, championing it as my second feature effort. I haven't disavowed it, but I don't feel a complete need to praise it. This is a time capsule inside a time capsule inside a time capsule inside a time capsule. Please don't watch this movie, but don't forget about it." And the synopsis being an edit of numerous promotional materials, films, television shows, and other media, primarily consisting of Walt Disney World Vacation Planning DVDs. I feel like I put it pretty well here. You're not really going to be able to see a lot of this, but, like, this is kind of what the vibes were. Anyway, yeah, so a movie that I tried making in 7th grade, way before 2020, and then in 2020 revisited it, turned my YouTube poop that I made into, like, a feature-length film, all in Windows Live Movie Maker. Anyway, kind of an extension of Shellfields to a degree, just because it's, like, the same comedic sensibilities. But yeah, anyway. And then later in 2020, I had Closest. This film is called Closest. Well, I guess I'll get into it. I don't like the back of this box. This feels so pretentious. Yeah, this was made at a very pretentious point in my life when I decided I'm done. And those two first movies, they were testing grounds. You know, they were, you know. But this is my first real movie. My first real movie was also edited in Windows Movie Maker, and you can tell. And it's just thematically not the strongest. There's strong moments in it, but it's because the film is just a bunch of not planning. I'm still talking like I'm talking about my second movie. Closest is a collection of home videos of my family and I, and videos of me and my brother growing up as kids, kind of edited together, just in, like, a way where it's like I have music that I was listening to at the time, and I guess still listen to, but you know, a bunch of just kind of a tasteful, what I thought at the time was a tasteful YouTube poop, and I'm like, this is the closest thing that I have to a real movie, because it's, like, not super memey, and it kind of takes itself seriously a little bit. And yeah, this is almost the hardest one to watch a little bit, because it's just, like, me trying a little hard, and I like that I tried hard. But anyway, I'll kind of show you just once again. There's a point to all this, by the way, I promise you. I gave some people, like, access to, like, a commentary. Like, I put a piece of paper in here with a link to, like, a SoundCloud thing that I then deleted. I'm going to be fully honest, I may have ripped y'all off, so I apologize if you guys are looking for that commentary, but I disavow that commentary. It was bad. Cool. But, alright, Closest. That was 2020. And then 2024. Moving up a couple years, but there's a reason for that. I have Sobel Operator. Also, this one looks different because it's made literally just out of an envelope. And then on the back there, just have a little few things. And then if you open it up, it's literally kind of just like a blank DVD sort of a thing. Not blank, but it's like very minimal stuff on there. I'll read the back of this one. This is the final version of the ever-evolving installation previously known as Skate City and Skate City Sobel Operator. So this is a living, breathing movie that died in the form of this thing. This is like the final form here. The final form was also posted to YouTube, but basically for 2 years, I constantly was remaking and re-updating the same movie. Started out as another YouTube poop kind of a thing. That I was like, I even presented one time as a joke. I had like a class. One time it was like an acting class that I was taking that I just like, we had to make like a video project, and Skate City was the video project. Once again tied to Shell Feels. But like, it was like I decided to take like 2 hours worth of content, take the little class project, put it in this like grandiose, like, I took clips from like Terrence Malick's like Tree of Life, or I guess Voyage of Time to a degree as well. And then like just a bunch of random shit, stapled it all together, and yeah. So that's Sobel Operator. I realized I'm doing a talking movie. That's what this is. I didn't want to, and now I'm doing a talking movie. So yeah, Sobel Operator. And I guess it won't be, no matter how much I ramble, this is, I'm gonna figure something out to like pad some extra runtime, because that's kind of the funny thing here, is that a lot of this is just using up runtime, and I don't want to ramble too long, but then it's also like the rest of the movie is going to be like me finding more experimental ways to like continue on with this movie. But yeah, those are my 4 feature films thus far. Anyway, sorry, yeah, so I guess I should go through, because I guess Skate City is still like living, breathing expression. So I kept on editing it. I kept on posting versions to YouTube, unlisted files, and just being like, hey guys, for like a day you could watch this version of Skate City. I can't even count how many versions of Skate City there were, because I just kept on deleting and whatever. Then October 26, 2022 happened for Shell Feels, and I decided that Skate City, a version that I dubbed the final whatever, something crazy final version, some whatever, was going to be the cap to Shell Feels, and was going to be the cap to this whole thing. I was hoping that security, okay, it doesn't look like security cares that I'm here. Good. By the way, can I just say that like parking in spaces that like, I feel like parking lots, if they're going to be invasive in our lives, like you should just be allowed to park somewhere. And like, especially like, I feel like homeless people are just so brought down by like, oh, you can't park here, but it's like, okay, but the whole earth is a parking lot. Like, where can I sleep? You know? I'm fortunate enough to not be in that position, but like my heart goes out to anybody who is there. So anyway, that is to say, like, man, fuck that. Anyway, by the way, I'm a Christian, y'all. Did I tell you guys that? So pardon my French at any point, because this is probably going to be also like a Bible movie too, where I like talk about Jesus. But so if that's not like your thing, I'd say stay with me for a little bit longer, but then I totally get it if you got to clock out. Yeah, basically the whole thing with Shell Feels, and I'm not going to get into Shell Feels anymore, but like, yeah, the whole thing was building up to this date, October 26, 2022, which for a while was just this cryptic date and everything, but I always knew that it was going to be the date that Shell Feels ends. So, because I think the whole thing even started with just like posting a meme like, do not go to Shell Feels on October 26, 2022, worst mistake of my life. And it's like that image of Peter Griffin like running out of like a whatever, like an exploding building or something. I totally even forgot what it was. But you know, like, don't go to the Mall of America at this random time, worst mistake of my life. But anyway, yeah, so that's when Skate City dropped. And it was essentially like the finale to Shell Feels. And a lot of people were expecting it to be like kind of something, because I was kind of building it up. And then some people even voiced it to me like, hey, you were building this up, why was it shit? But the whole thing, that version of Skate City, this is like, I think by this time like the 5th or 6th version of Skate City or something. And there were even more versions that I didn't publicly share. Granted, some of them I me publicly sharing them meant like showing them to like a few people in a room or whatever, like being posting an unlisted link to YouTube just for a while and seeing if anybody would click on a link to it, like on Instagram or something. But anyway, Skate City happens, and it's just, there's some extra stuff in it, but for the most part, it's me sitting in front of a projector that's playing Crazy Bus. If anybody's familiar with Crazy Bus, it's a video game for the Sega Genesis, like a kind of unofficial video game. I'm even blanking on what even country it's from right now, but it's a crazy game. Heavily recommend looking up Crazy Bus. Look up just Crazy Bus walkthrough or something. In 2 minutes, you'll get it. Like, it's hilarious. But, like, that's Crazy Bus. You watch Crazy Bus for 2 minutes, and you know what Crazy Bus is. But, and I just decided to sit in front of the title screen of Crazy Bus, for a good, basically, hour and 15 minutes. To be totally fair, and to dispel to, like, you know, two of my friends or something who did actually watch the whole movie, and I can't confirm if anybody else actually watched the whole thing or if they just skipped through it, to any parts where there were changes and stuff and extra shots. But I know for a fact, shout out to PK Meta, they both watched the entire film, and it's crazy. They have a commentary track, so that's actually the best way to watch that movie. Anyway, it all is just me sitting in front of a screen for a while, but to dispel anything, I did not actually listen to Crazy Bus the whole time. I did stare deep into the projector basically the whole time. But I also was, like, listening to some stuff and all that, but, yeah, and I got a headache, but anyway, it was just kind of this, like, stupid Cap to Shell feels. The true Cap wasn't actually even that movie. The true Cap was literally, you can go to the page right now, the first thing you'll see is Congraturations. If anybody's familiar with another random game that actually never even got released, there was a California Raisin Man video game for the NES that just never came out, and the ending of that game was just like a picture of the California Raisins that just says Congraturations, and it's funny because, like, the game was apparently really hard or something, and it just, like, it leads to Congraturations. That's like your gift for completing a bad and difficult game. So that's like the whole thing. That's October 26, 2022. And anyway, I sat with Skate City for a while. There was some sincerity to it in that, like, there was a Maggie Rogers song, I've Got a Friend, playing at the end. I did, like, switch up the projector, and then eventually it was some high-8 footage that I had shot of, like my front yard and stuff, and it's just, like, this overall trying to be pleasant vibe. And I was also going through some stuff at the time, so I was kind of, like, getting some stuff out. There's some secret messages encoded everywhere and stuff that it's probably not legible. You can't read it, but there were, like, some words that I put out there. But anyway, yeah, I was going through a lot, and yeah, that was that movie. And that's what I thought was going to be at the ending. And then, I updated it a couple more times. I couldn't stop. So yeah, 2024, eventually, after updating it a few more times and doing, like, hey, essentially rambles about, like, I had this playlist idea where, like, the movie would be, like, just a black screen with a music playlist playing, and then, like, but, like, an intro, kind of like this one, where I'm explaining what the concept of the film is, and then getting into it. Eventually, the film, became Sobel Operator. The final version, the name changed, 2 times, but Sobel Operator is, like, the final form. And Sobel Operator is just kind of like a meditation of just, like, it's footage that I shot kind of driving around. Promise I was being safe. But I was just shooting footage, driving, and, like, off of a phone, like, super shaky, super zoomed in, so that it's all grainy. I love the look of, like, I would love to shoot a narrative feature, super zoomed in, and just, like, kind of that, like, it kind of gives a 16mm vibe on my phone. I don't know about anybody else's, but I have, like, a Google Pixel or something. And it's the, I don't like the way that phone footage looks, but if you can stylize it, I think it looks good. Yeah. Anyway, all that is to say, and that's essentially the playlist idea of it. It's mostly like a playlist with a narrative running through it and everything. And it's just kind of like you can fall asleep to it, you could whatever, but if you want to read into it, you can. I know some people have watched it and have enjoyed it, so recommend it to anybody. I don't think many people did, but if you did watch it, thank you. I appreciate you a ton. Anyway, uh, I don't know. I decided to go through all this to say that I like have kind of had this frustration with myself and the struggle of I don't make real movies. I want to make like real narrative stuff. And like, man, when am I going to get to make like a whatever, like an A24 movie or something, you know? When am I going to get access to all these big cameras and big crews and everything? And I want to dispel that for anybody who is feeling that right now. Not dispel it like as if it's invalid, but just I want to get into why that way of thinking has only been detrimental to me and why I've felt comfortable moving into the space that I'm in now. So anyway, by the time you're watching this, I actually have two more movies. I have the one that you're watching right now, and I have a film that I am currently working on, almost finished with, and it's just another giant YouTube poop. It's called Olive Garden the movie. And it originally started as a different, kind of like all the rest of my stuff. It's like I start making a thing and then I decide to make it a totally different thing, usually being just like a silly YouTube poop kind of a thing. But Olive Garden the movie started out as, I don't even know what the title was really going to be, but me and my friend Joe, actually from PK Meta, we drove around for a while and shot footage of we taped literally two phones to like either end of a tripod. Like we just got tons of duct tape and just and we just drove around with this Tascam recording all the audio that whatever the phones weren't picking up, and we just like talked for a while. And the whole thing was, I thought it was gonna be kind of a genre piece at first of like, it's kind of an awkward mumblecore thing where we're kind of struggling to find things to say. We were more just kind of like having conversations as ourselves. It turned less into we're playing characters, and there was some of that, but whatever. It was just kind of a hangout thing. But then I'm like, thinking about it before I even looked at the footage, I'm like, I need to do something else with this. Not that I wasn't thankful to Joe for the time and everything, but I'm like, this has to be something else. So it turned into something else. It turned into Olive Garden the movie, and it's now there's a ton of stuff like Mac and Me, and it's essentially kind of like what I tried making this in 7th grade was supposed to be. All while this is happening, I've for a while been working on a project called Brower's Blog, like for over a year now, and that's coming after this film. That's like the next film. The plan is at least. So Brower's Blog, and then I also have a movie even planned later in the year, like kind of December-ish, about kind of in the form of like more of a video essay that happens to be feature length, and it's going to be about Epcot. To anybody who watches my YouTube channel or knows me personally, Epcot is probably my favorite work of art of all time, and I just kind of wanted to get into that. But so yeah, I wanted to make like a feature length film about environmentalism and Epcot and the nature of protest and surveillance and a bunch of things, and what it means to make art in a world that could be potentially performative, because you're building a giant building, but you're also saying, hey guys, isn't climate change bad? So like what's really happening there? Is this a product or is this art? And that's kind of what I want to explore with the Epcot thing. But Brower's Blog is going to be its own thing. It's going to be like this kind of like experimental, once again, kind of transmedia installation that kind of spans beyond being a movie. There's more interactive elements to it and everything. But I'm working pretty hard on it, and I think it's the proudest I am of a project thus far. So yeah, we're going to see how that turns out. But anyway, all that is to say, Olive Garden the movie should be out. I haven't finished it yet, but I'm going to finish Olive Garden the movie up. The second I'm done finishing this, pretty much, I'm going to sprint, get Olive Garden the movie done, and then get this out too. But in between all that, I've now gone through all the feature films, and I want to get into kind of why this matters, why I'm talking about this, and why I explain all that to you. My thing is, okay, I don't know if I've mentioned this yet. I go to film school. I I mean, you could find where I go to film school, like pretty much anybody. Like if you know me, if you whatever, I guess social media might reveal it or something, whatever. But I guess just in the film, I'm not gonna reveal. But I guess just because it's kind of a YouTube video that maybe more people will see, I don't feel comfortable being like, here's exactly where I go to school. But especially if I'm about to kind of badmouth it a little bit. But I do go to a film school, and granted, actually a pretty good film school. It's not like a film program at a big institution. That it's actually at a community college. Started out as a grassroots kind of like its own school thing, and then got picked up by a community college, and now is especially like assimilating now just as a program at the community college, even if they have the infrastructure to be like a true film institute kind of a thing. So they're actually pretty prestigious, and I'm paying little to no tuition. Actually, I'm off of, I will reveal that I'm on student aid. So I actually haven't paid a penny for school, and it's been great. And I think that should be the case for everybody. The fact that other people don't get that is disgusting to me. But it's, sorry, I'm like kind of, I start to sort of lose train of thought here. I need to check what time which close. I'm in the parking lot of near the parking lot of a Which, and Which had something to do with this movie, and I cannot, for the life of me, know what time Which closes. They close at 8:30, so we're good, because that's the time that I think I need to be done anyway. Okay, I'll leave that up. But anyway. Yeah, so anyway, all this is to say, go to film school, all this stuff. Am I absolutely thankful for so many of the opportunities that film school has afforded me? Absolutely. You can probably go on my YouTube channel, and depending on how I feel about each one of them at any given time, I tend to unlist stuff, I tend to, or I might make it public. So at any given point in time, there might be some stuff on my YouTube channel that you can check out, or other public profiles anywhere if you really, really are into searching me up and stuff. You can find some stuff that I've done through film school. But then I'll be like, I don't want to show that one, but then I'll end, this one's fine, and whatever. So I kind of hate opening the floodgates to that, because I'm gonna be totally real. Hang on, I'm gonna wait for this guy to, somebody kind of parked close to me in a way that it's like, oh my god, you're gonna get a little suspicious for a second. But sorry, I'm a paranoid person. Yeah. Now people are texting me. Sorry, I'm paranoid, man. Why are you so paranoid? Oh, actually, it's my girlfriend. I should probably answer that. I will say, I'm not... Claire, if you're watching this, I love you. I love you so much. I will actually probably even make a joke about this to you. But I'm not going to respond to your text just right now, just given certain circumstances. No, I can cut. It's fine. Yeah, you can cut this out. Okay. Okay, so, yeah, sorry. You gotta answer your texts, man. Sometimes you gotta answer your texts. It's crazy enough. I have this weird relationship with my phone where I really try and stay away from it, but then it's like people text me important things, and then I'm like, oh, wait. Now I gotta be paranoid about, like, every text that I've ever gotten in my life, and being like, oh, did I answer that quick enough? Oh my gosh. If I didn't answer it in 10 seconds, I'm a bad person. But anyway, I go to film school. so thankful for the opportunity and everything. I have realized that the traditional film industry is not for me. And that's coming from a lifetime, obviously, first feature film in 2018. But that comes from a lifetime of loving film, working at various movie theaters, talking about films ever since I was a very young child. I am the poster child for, parents being like, oh my gosh, my kid is he's always been making his little movies and everything. Like, I am the person that those people describe of, like, I literally had a camera at the age of, like, I think 2, like, was my first camera. It was like a little Tykes camera, like a video camera that was, like, really cool, that, like, it could be accessible at that time for pretty cheap. Like, it's crazy. But yeah. um, big big movie guy here. But it's also, like, kind of weird to say that and be like, yeah, but I don't want to work with most traditional filmmakers anymore. I don't like the industry. I don't like the way that the industry and the way that film school treats people. And maybe not treats people, because that makes it sound like that I have, like, allegations already. I don't. But I think that good film schools, like the one that I attend, train you for the industry. And the industry isn't like, it's not just like, oh, the industry is manipulative, everything, like the dark secrets of Hollywood kind of a thing. That's not what I'm getting into. It's more just like, I think the inherent structure of film sets, it's a hierarchy that in the modern day and age does not need to exist. I always point it out to people, but there's a great video by Cody Clark that, oh my gosh, I always forget the title of, and I'm so sorry, but I'm most like, there's a video made by Cody Clark at some point in time that articulates this perfectly, and I was like, yes, when I first saw it, it made total sense to me, as far as just like films right now exist, and independent films, actually, I should say, independent films exist to sell you in this idea that, independence can still be this, like, corporate thing, that it can still be this, like, you do have your A24 and Neon and Gravitas Ventures and Oscilloscope Laboratories and Annapurna Pictures and all these kind of, like, more independent, like, production companies, distributors, kind of a thing. And it's like, oh, look, they only made this movie for $20 million. It's crazy. And, like, it's just crazy to me that we talk about movies with, like, even $1 million budget, even hundreds of thousands of dollars. Like, you say that a movie costs 200 grand, and to me that's insane. Like, where did you get that money from? And I just think that, and that would be one thing if we were in the old days of, you have to move out to Hollywood or any other big production places in the world to get your start and make movies, and you got to have the studio infrastructure and everything. And I think there's even a place for studio filmmaking. But I think this distinction of independent filmmaking and studio filmmaking, it doesn't matter, because true independent filmmaking is happening on YouTube. It's happening, and this isn't, and Cody Clark also gets into this. This isn't influencing. This isn't content creating. That's the idea that corporations also want to sell you, that, yeah, if you make a movie on your iPhone, that's what YouTubers do, and YouTubers are influencers, and they're not filmmakers. They're influencers. And it's to say that, like, if you post a certain thing to a platform, or if you shoot with a certain type of camera, or if you have a crew of this size, you are a content creator. You are a YouTuber, and that's a degrading thing. And not to knock influencers, but, like, I don't want to influence. That's not my point of being here. Influencing feels inherently a little like marketing, trying to make money, kind of selling products, advertising things, advertising experiences or lifestyles. Sure, there are good influencers out there for sure. But it just inherently, that idea is also just so rooted in trying to bring people down. And on the other side of it, you do have film schools in the film industry telling people that, yeah, you could make your own little independent movie. You just got to hold on to your baby script forever and then wait for a billionaire to invest in you. And it's that's still not independent filmmaking, because it's still waiting on investors. And I am so going to film school every day, surrounded by mostly aspiring filmmakers around my age. And not to, once again, if anybody from my school sees this or anything, this is not me knocking anybody. This is just, I don't have the same lifestyle as you, in that I know plenty of people who are like, I am holding on to my baby script. I'm gonna do this. I'm whatever. Usually it's the archetype of like a 50-year-old guy or something, or 60-year-old guy. There's a lot of men, by the way, too. Which doesn't help this. That it's like an industry that also tells women and queer people and anybody of darker skin complexion or anything like that like, oh, this isn't for you as well. Like, I'm a white guy. I should be able to get into this pretty easily. I'm a Christian white dude, and cis Christian white dude, in roughly Midwest. Like, I'm not the guy to like reject filmmaking and be like, fuck the system, whatever. Like, it. So I just felt this, like, almost the sense of, like, I don't want to, like, bring down people with dysphoria or anything with this, but it truly does feel like a sense of dysphoria of, like, if you watch any of my movies, they're not made by me. And no matter how small of crews I'm trying to get, no matter how much, and that's not me being like, oh, I don't want to take the blame for if they're bad. It's just, that is not me. And if you like the movie, that is not me. I'm still sorry. And I try to incorporate some of the narrative styles that I appreciate and stuff. I did a short film a while ago called Long Distance. Great crew, great everything. Just great people. Loved everybody who worked on that film. But I wanted to incorporate so many of my, like, mumblecore sensibilities into it, and I just felt beaten down because, to be honest, I had a instructor in film school who I don't think saw the vision. And it's fine, it's his prerogative to teach a course and say, hey, it's one thing if I have instructors, and I have had instructors who have been great like this, who have said, you can make what you want, just understand that, like, maybe your version of what filmmaking looks like isn't going to make money. That's fine. If I'm being graded based on, hey, this is a class based on, who cares, like if the syllabus is essentially stating, hey, up front, this is a class about the film industry. If you don't like it, get out. Like, that's cool. I'm totally vibing with that. Like, I love that. That honesty. I just hate this whole, like, guys, we're all about art here, and we're all about creativity. You just gotta express yourself and tell your story. I fucking hate the whole tell your story thing. Can we stop? Especially telling rich people to say that. Like, stop. Just pick up a camera and make a movie, guys. Tell your story. Shut the fuck up. Okay, anyway, sorry. I hate that. I don't want this to become like a cynical rant, by the way. Please, don't take this as that. But it's so annoying. It's so annoying because it just feels so out of touch, especially when you do tell your story and you do try to authentically do things and people beat you down, not based on they didn't like it. There's fine if they don't like it. It's this idea of like inherently this concept is bad. I can't stand that. I can't stand that, man. So to bring this all back to like the theme park thing and stuff, I've realized my calling in life, if I even have one, other than, I believe to evangelize, and I don't think my use of language here and stuff has really been that great, but like, I want to tell people that Jesus exists, that he's a cool guy and everything, that he died for you, and that he wants to be with you and love you, without strings attached. And I, like, that's like my purpose here. Second purpose might be something regarding environment, might be regarding, ensuring the safety of my family. Obviously, if I have a family one day, loving the people in my life, like, these are like grand purposes, but like, if we're talking like career purpose in life kind of a thing, film isn't it. Film, my purpose here, I've realized, is just, if you guys don't like me using the term filmmaker to describe myself, then I'll kind of give you that, and I'll just start labeling everything that I do as, experimental art. And, it sucks, Because everybody gets to be in the filmmaker club and being like, oh, man, I'm gonna pat you on the back, man. Like you made a movie on an iPhone, isn't that crazy? And it's like there's so many people making movies on iPhones right now. Like why are by the way, that's not like a knock at like Sean Baker, for example, by the way. Like I think I brought up Sean Baker earlier. Like, if a film, or Steven Soderbergh, I think also, it's like you have these like iPhone movies, and I think they're great to show the general public that that's possible. They helped me, and they're still great movies, and they still have those folk filmmaking a lot of tendencies. But it's still like, but you're like kind of maybe a person who could get into this. You have a rapport, you have whatever. There are kids out there who, and full blown adults too, who just like they want to make a movie, man, and they make legit movies that are great and have these great stories, or maybe they're more in the vein of what I do, and it's more experimental and non-linear, and like that's great too. But I've realized that using the term art, using the term, that I'm an artist, it feels more authentic to the person that I am, because in some part it's because I truly do believe that art is just a better thing to associate with right now. But at the same time, it also, I gotta admit, the term filmmaker has been stripped from me a little bit. I do feel beaten down by others telling me that I'm not capable. And a lot of that is tied to, it's just inherently classist, and it's inherently, and to think, once again, cisgender, white dude who's like, there's so many, so many people out there who just, if I feel beaten down by the system, how do other people feel? So I'm going to graduate from this film school with my writing, directing, and film. Applied science associate's degree. I got to get out of there. The other thing, too, is I've never been the best student. I've considered myself to be a pretty academic person, but school hasn't been for me. And I'm not one of those, like, schools are always evil kind of a thing. I think schools have a little bit more legitimacy as far as a system goes, because it's not inherently capitalist, but it is training people for capitalism. And it's like, we're telling, like, I get, like, yeah, life isn't fair and people are going to judge you based on numbers, but, like, do we really need to be telling a 5-year-old that, like, immediately, so then they feel no self-love or self-worth by the age of 6, Like, is that really the life lesson? They're still learning about multiplication and addition, It's like, but anyway. This turned into a ramble, because I think we're at 47 minutes now. Roughly, that's what I'm recording on the Tascam. I don't know what gets cut, whatever, but I'm at a weird place. I'm at a crossroads too, because right now I'm in my last production class. I've taken a few production courses, but where you make your own short film, but like I'm currently in my last like true production class, where I have to like run a set to some degree and stuff, like a director's workshop class, and I'm exhausted, man, and I'm exhausted by these systems telling. I should explain too, by the way, what I really mean. It's just like, it's a lot of it is just the system of buying giant cameras that we don't need, DSLRs can shoot a ton. Lighting rigs are great, but like, are we really not going to first look at whether or not natural light makes sense for lighting this? And two, it's just this whole thing of like, how many times do we have to rehearse with actors? Because improv is usually better. I'm sorry, guys. At least in my experience directing actors, you get some great stuff improving, and people feel more in character, and they feel, and it's all these systems are telling you that if you're not making a big deal out of everything and spending a ton of money, then you are a bad filmmaker. And that's what I'm frustrated with. So I guess I should finally get into why this movie's called I Want to Leave. I I've been all over the place, so I apologize. So if any points, if I've started a conversation here and I haven't reached the end of it, I apologize. But the point of calling this movie "I Want to Leave" is that if I haven't gotten into it already, maybe this is something I already mentioned. Um, this Oscars challenge film. I don't even know if I've mentioned the Oscars challenge thing yet. Um, so anyway, all that is to say, a bunch of folk filmmakers are working today. They're great. Most of them don't get any views or recognition whatsoever. So please check out any. If your friend said they made a movie, watch it, please. That's how you support folk filmmakers. Unless you're truly actively seeking them out and watching a ton of movies, which also is great. But I understand there's a lot of, you want to sit with a movie for a while. You want to digest it. I get it. So if you're not a consume person, then, that's great. But yeah, if you have some free time and want to watch a movie, I'd recommend just looking into some folk films, especially if you just have people in your life or know somebody whose cousins, friends, brother, or whatever, made a movie. Watch that. Or go through the playlist, the Oscars playlist. Anyway, I need to explain. But there are a few folk filmmakers out there, that I feel like I feel like Dan Lotz and Joel Haver are the two that to me immediately come to mind as far as being and Cody Clark I'd also say is up there as far as being these are the guys that people kind of maybe not mainstream, but definitely mainstream on the internet. They kind of could be within that influencer status, And Joel Haver, folk filmmaker, great folk filmmaker. I hate to say it, and I hate to make this a popularity contest, but it really does just feel like this, and I feel like a lot of people want to contest this. I feel like Joel Haver is the most folk filmmaker while still being kind of a public big figure. Like, people know who Joel Haver is. And he does a challenge every year where instead of watching the Oscars, a bunch of people get together. Not get together, but I guess if they get together within their decentralized groups, and just a bunch of people on the internet just say, hey, I'm gonna, instead of watching the Oscars this year and supporting the institution of film, and especially this false indie institution of film, everybody, I feel like a lot of people complain, when I say I'm protesting the Oscars, everybody's like, yeah, hell yeah, protest the Oscars, because they always nominate and give awards to movies with that nobody's heard of, and it's literally as somebody who works at an AMC and watches literally everything that comes out in theaters, it's no, these are pretty mainstream big movies for the most part. Just because you haven't been to the movie theaters in a while to watch Conclave or whatever, doesn't mean that Conclave isn't a big movie. Just because it's not a Marvel movie doesn't not make it a big movie. Anora is a huge movie. Anora, especially in Sean Baker's filmography, is a huge movie. You compare it to Takeout or something, and it's night and day. A bunch of people get together, protest the Oscars, and decide, hey, instead of watching it, we're gonna make movies over the course of this 3.5 hours or so. We're just gonna make movies and see what happens. I had an idea immediately. Once I really decided this year I'm going to do it, that I'm hey, what about a movie? By the way, please nobody steal this, because I still would probably like to do this, and probably somebody's done something like it for sure. But I wanted to do a GoPro POV movie of I was going to find a friend or my brother or somebody. They're going to hold a camera, and I was going to play this character essentially. And I was going to make my house, my family's home. I was going to kick the rest of my family out for the night, and be hey, I'm going to set up the house so that it's a giant set and kind of an interactive, almost a theme park of sorts, you think of the Galactic Star Cruiser or something, where everything's just super interactive and immersive theater and everything. And it's kind of, just imagine, hold the camera. I was going to tell my friend or whoever was going to do this, hold the camera, walk into the house and pretend you're going to a party. And then that's all I was going to tell him. And then I was going to play a character. I'm like, hey, welcome. Nobody's shown up yet, but you're the first one here, whatever. And then just for like an hour and 30 minutes, it's just like nobody shows up to the party. Like, it's just this guy being like, people will show up eventually. People will show up. And, like, this guy's kind of trying to, like, find ways, like, can I get out? Like, is it awkward? Like, can I get asked to use the bathroom? And whatever, find an excuse to leave and all this. It's just kind of this, like, paranoid but also, like, comedic thing where this guy's getting weirder and weirder as time goes. Not in a horror way, but in, like, a, he's just kind of a weird guy way. And I don't know how I was going to play the character exactly, but, yeah, and I just wanted to be an immersive experience for whoever it was that was going to make the movie with me, because I would be playing the character, and I was going to set up everything ahead of time. But then, the film is, just a POV one-shot movie. So it is going to be called I Want to Leave. No longer will it be called I Want to Leave. I'm going to have to find a new title for it if I revisit this concept, especially for another Oscars challenge, because it feels primed, that kind of a concept for the Oscars challenge. So yeah, I just realized we're at 55 minutes. That's crazy, man. This is the movie. This literally is the movie. This is gonna be uncut. I mean, there are a few points when I'm like, I should have cut that, but it's fine. It's fine. This is the movie. This is the feature movie. This is feature film. Anyway, sorry. So yeah, you just have. By the way, I'm gonna see if there's a way that I can. Did I just start a new take on that? Anyway, we'll see. We'll see when I edit this. Anyway, my point was I realized that this screen has been on the whole time, and I'm like, I feel like I could have turned that off because like the battery's going down a little bit. Anyway. So yeah, that was the point. It was going to be called I Want to Leave. And I had that planned. Then I got really, really sick. And like, not only like sick, like I got strep, mono, different times. It's crazy. I also got, I have a couple of different medical conditions I won't get into. But I genuinely for a few weeks, up to about a month, I've been feeling like awful, pure shit. So, it's like, I was like, am I even going to do the Oscars movie? I don't feel like I'm going to be ready in time. I feel like the last 2 days have been the only 2 days that I've felt kind of like a normal person functioning again. So, anyway, yeah, that was what this was going to be, and now it's this. So all of this is like, I feel like the lesson here for this movie thus far has been just make what you want, man. And don't let things that go wrong get you down, I guess. It's such an easy lesson, but it's just like, I need to make an easy movie, man. And it's an easy lesson, and I've been all over the place. I've expressed myself. I don't know what the message is. You take away what the message is. Maybe the message is beyond anything that I've even said, because maybe the point isn't that. Maybe the point is that this is all just here. I don't know. I feel like this should have been more special, you know? I feel like this is maybe just more fodder for, like, Brower's blog. Because kind of like, I feel like as I was getting closer and closer to making this, and I'm like, I'm just going to kind of do whatever instead of doing the I Want to Leave original concept. I'm just going to run with it. I'm going to keep the original title and just run with it and just see what happens. And I feel like I Want to Leave can apply to a few things here. And it's such a cynical title. But, like, it feels like a joke. Like, in the context of that movie, it feels like it's like a joke. Like, I Want to Leave is just kind of a quirky title. But, like, in this context, it's almost kind of bleak. I'm in a parking lot right now. By the way, too, I'm not an advocate for retail therapy. Part of the joke with this whole thing was that I was going to, like, most of the plot, the real plot of this movie was I'm going to get witch. Like, there's a witch here. And I was just going to be like, I'm going to get witch and I'm going to, like, do stuff and whatever. But, like, I realize too, I'm also like, if I depict myself going to get which I'm a big person where I love like novelty foods, fast food, everything. I understand like I don't want to live off of it, obviously, but like as a sweet treat, I love a little sweet treat. I love soda. I love fast food. I know it's terrible for me and has probably been a massive part in some of the awful things in the world, but it's just like it brings me some degree of joy, in like a true guilty pleasure kind of way. But it's there. Because otherwise I'm like a massive, like, obviously I just don't like what we've done to this earth. I don't like the idea of capitalism inherently. I don't like the idea of cars or roads or, animal exploitation or single-use plastic. And like a lot of my guilt is tied to environmental stuff, and it's tied to, I don't know. I just feel this immense guilt in life. And for a lot of stuff. My love of theme parks is so, in movies, it's all superfluous art, and especially theme parks, they literally take up physical footprints. Theme parks are such a loose term too. You also have like, you have zoos and stuff, and like if they have themed entertainment is there, I want to go see it, but also I don't like the fact that the monkey is behind the cage. Like, that just feels wrong to me. I don't care how well the monkey is taken care of. It just feels wrong that a monkey's in a cage. Also, I have pets. I have pets, and that feels inherently wrong to me, but I love them with all my heart and soul. But I do have pets that are kept inside, and we have a bird in a cage. Like, it doesn't get much, like, sadder to watch than that. We try and let him fly around sometimes, like, as much as we can. He doesn't really like flying because, his wing... we also have to clip his wings quite a lot to make sure he doesn't hurt himself when he flies around, but like it's just like a big deal when he flies. I promise we'd try and take him out more than you might think it is, but still, based on what I'm implying. But it's just, and my dogs, if I could, they would have free reign and run around all the time, but like, no, I have to take them on walks, and if I don't take them on daily walks, I feel like an awful person. They have a backyard and access to that and stuff, but I just like, there's this nature of exploitation that comes with like fast food and stuff that just is like, and a lot of the things that I enjoy in my life, because it's so product based. Everything is a product. Everything is a parking lot. And I want to leave that. I want to leave this guilt. I want to leave this guilt of perpetuating an industry and taking up space by, making a movie about me talking in a car about how difficult my life is because I make movies. Like, there are people dying in the world. Like, I don't know. But I also want to leave this mindset too, because there is still part of me that wants to live a life where I can just go get like Witch and kind of participate in some retail therapy and be like, yeah, I can get a sandwich and a soda and enjoy it. Like, that's a weird thing. Like, I'm allowed to enjoy that without it being tied to, by the way, look at all this awful stuff. I'm a vegetarian. I feel like I should go vegan, But even as a vegetarian, I have cravings. So I have occasional cheat days where I'll get a burger or something, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm an awful person. This is like an animal that, well, also not only an animal, but like it's that mass exploitation. It'd be fine if I just like killed the animal myself, but like, no, there's like, and hunted it and it lived a good long life. It's like, no, these are animals that are farmed and live awful lives. This has gotten so bleak. I'm so sorry to those watching, but I weirdly am trying to do the like David Lynch thing of like, but this is this all pervading happiness, there is an essence of all pervading happiness. There is joy. I found that obviously in a religious context with Jesus. I should, I guess, be unafraid to talk about my faith. I don't know. That's another thing too, is like I just see, if you can't tell based on a lot of the implications that I've made here, I understand why, number one, it's crazy to believe in any kind of a deity when we live in such a science-based world and science makes sense. But then two, it's more just the factor of like, yeah, the churches in America, I can't speak for many other countries, but I know there's martyrs in other countries and all this stuff. But speaking to my specific view of churches in America are awful. They're awful to people. A lot of them are racist and transphobic and homophobic and classist and by the way, I'm not like, this isn't like a political thing of like, I'm a liberal and I gotta point out everything wrong with churches and then be like, but Jesus is cool, I guess, and therefore I'm a Christian even though, I believe XYZ, and it's literally just like rejecting the Trinity or something. Like I'm a true believing Christian. I believe that Jesus died on a cross for my sins, and I believe in the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, and it's all that good stuff. But man, it's just crazy to try and convince somebody of that who, in every way, has no reason to believe that. There's no reason to believe in that type of a hope. I don't blame people. I'm looking at a Trader Joe's right now. There's nothing joyous about a Trader Joe's. I don't care who you are. I know plenty of people who love Trader Joe's. I'm not that person. Fuck Trader Joe's. I hate it. My girlfriend is gonna watch this. She loves Trader Joe's. I'm so sorry, Claire. I know you like Trader Joe's. This is more like Trader Joe's is a symbol. I hope you know that. It's not. It's Trader Joe's. I don't know what to do with this guilt. I don't know how to feel like a normal, good person again. And I know at the end of the day, I'm going to get the sandwich. I got to post 2 movies to YouTube, and it's going to take up data space, and the environment, I'm going to have to drive home, and fossil fuels, even though this is a roughly pretty decent fuel-efficient car, it's still not like... whatever. It's a car, which is a number one problem. And then 2, even if it is a car, it's not even an electric or a hybrid. It's literally just like a very fuel efficient tiny car. It's an older car. It's a used one, so I guess I didn't put another car in the landfill, I guess. I don't know. But I don't know what the point of any of this was. But I just felt compelled to share my faith, share a little bit of my story, share a bit about how I perceive art and why I'm doing this project and why I participated in this Oscars challenge, even if it didn't look the same way as I wanted it to, and why you might see a movie that very well could have been titled I Want to Leave that is no longer called I Want to Leave, and now there's a movie that called I Want to Leave that has very little reason to be called I Want to Leave. I'm seeing some thematic parallels between I Want to Leave and a bunch of other stuff, but I feel like I Want to Leave is a proper title for this. Like, it feels right. I don't know why it feels right, but it does. I want you to take from this what you want, and this was just a talking movie. I'm really wondering whether or not to just throw in footage or something, or call it a day. Funny, because there's plenty of videos that I've been wanting to make. Like, I've been wanting to make a video about, like, another theme park-based video just about how, I think a rhetoric in artistic spaces, but specifically theme parks and theme park YouTube is like kind of toxic right now, and anti-art. And it's just really funny that I'm not doing that right now, but I am making a movie that I like. This is not what I imagined my, I guess, 6th feature film looking like, because once again, Olive Garden the movie's coming before. It's really hard for me to. This feels like the sequel to like Sobel Operator, but it's the sequel to Olive Garden the movie if things go the way that I've planned it. Olive Garden the movie is going to come first before this, but Olive Garden the movie isn't part of the Oscars challenge, which I think I have like a week to edit this, so it's going to take me a few minutes probably, but given that I don't think I'm going to cut anything here. I don't know what to do, man. This is like a weird position to be in. I just feel like this has been the movie. Like, this is what my 6th feature film looks like. And it's that whole thing of growing up having growing up was making feature films and growing up was making short films obviously and stuff, but like younger, but like I really started to, I think, come into my own through my feature films as a person. And it's interesting because I don't like any of them. I'm gonna be totally real. So it's this weird thing of like, when are you gonna get serious? When are you gonna make a serious, real movie? And then every time I try it, it never works really. But then it's like I feel like that's probably just like God telling me like, hey, this is, if it's your instinct to do something else, but it's still your instinct to make a movie, then just freely exist and make. That's not God telling me that, like it's probably just my head, and God is leading me to a place where I can identify that. But I'm not trying to be one of those like, God gave me the prophetic words. No. But I don't know what to do. What is this movie? I both know what it is, because it's like the point of this, I feel like, is the aimlessness. But it's like, but it's also aimless, Like, I can't imagine anybody watching this. Like, I'm sitting here imagining somebody watching this, and it's just hard to picture. So, I guess Briar's blog coming soon. I don't know. Olive Garden the movie hopefully came out by the time this is out. Go check out other Oscars projects. I'm gonna see how long this actually has gone on. Hour and 10 minutes. Which to me, by the way, I know some people say 40 minutes and everything is a feature film. Hour and 15 is my length, and I know I could stretch this to hour and 15 because of some of the stuff that I had shot. I don't think I'm gonna do that, really. Kind of thinking about it now. I might get one of the shots. I don't know. I'll throw in something, but there's also something to be said for like, this is a one-shot movie. But it's like, when that was never the plan, and it doesn't feel right to really like. I'm not impressed by the fact that I was able to just sit here rambling in front of a camera for an hour and 15 minutes. There's nothing impressive to me about that. So why would that be my first one-shot movie? When a one-shot film is like a gimmick that I actually like enjoy and respect a lot. I used to have this weird thing too. I guess I'll bring this up. My style has changed quite a bit, even just in my head, as far as part of the reason that I, like, for a while I'd like disavowed my old movies, and now I'm kind of like accepting them again and stuff, is like there's certain things where I'm like, when I make real narrative feature films, man, with like scripts and people and everything, I'm gonna do this thing where it's kind of like Nolan movies, where there's always a format, and like I have this weird thing where I can't, your first and last shot have to be just like very specific images that can't, you can't open a film with text or something, or you can't open a shot and then have text on that opening shot or something. It's just like this whole specific thing of like, first and last shot have to be this specific thing, and you could do whatever you want with the middle of the movie. And I think that was like weirdly my brain telling me that like, hey, you don't have much substance, you have an image of style in your head that you like. Because, editors that are paid well, and as they should be, and they should be paid more, are able to accomplish this thing, and VFX artists and DPs and all these big crews can manage these stylistic movies with styles that, can carry a movie without substance. And I've realized it really is the substance of a film that matters. Style. Actually, separating the two, I think, is a crazy thing. It's like, I've always had a problem with film criticism and theme parks and stuff play into this too, art criticism in general, where people are like, people always have to rank things, and people have to be like compartmentalize. The cinematography is a 10, and the acting is a 9, and the whatever. Like, I hate that. I hate that way of breaking up things, and it's literally just how other people think. So I shouldn't tear that down too much, but it feels to me so stuck in this like I'm entitled to a 10 out of 10 every time kind of a mindset, and like if it doesn't challenge me and it literally just is a pretty picture, then I guess it's good. I don't know. I also don't want this to turn into like a whole I'm a more important filmmaker than others because I'm actually saying the real important honest things. I don't know what this was. If this was an ego trip, I feel self-deprecating right now. I feel like shit. To be fully honest with you right now, I feel like shit. I have that project that I have to do in 2 days where I have to direct a scene for a thing, and it's going to be my last film school production, like big production. with like people and everything. And meanwhile, like I'm running like this tiny set compared to other people. I've been assisting on other sets, and it's like this huge production everybody's made out of, and I'm like, wow, crazy. You know like 50 people, and I know like 4, and the 4, and I don't know. I think great for those people. I just don't have it in me to be that person who can manage a crew of 700 people eventually one day and be like, the little Ridley Scott, like, yeah, I got a handle on this. And also too, it's just like the role of director is such like an up in the air thing, because I feel like I also want to be a producer, and I want to be a writer, and I want to be all this stuff. But then I look at all these, what those roles mean when you're on a union type set where it's like everybody either sticks in their lane, or if you do take on multiple jobs, you're stressed the fuck out because like there's so much that comes with those roles. I thought that I liked the idea for a while of directing actors. Like directing, like, I think is a misunderstood role a lot of the time, and a lot of people who know me know that I say this a lot, but like directing is such a misunderstood thing, because for me it's like literally you talk to the DP for a little bit during pre-production, but otherwise you try and stay hands off with the cam team, and otherwise other departments are mostly taken care of by their own department heads, because conceptually by then, like if you really are running a set where like there's one job per person and everything, and or one person per job, and everybody has a thing to do, and our department's doing this and everything, they're like I feel like, to me, once all that is taken care of, the role of, if you're just the director, or maybe a writer director, because it's slightly more hands-on, but like if you truly are just the director, the point is talk to the DP for a little bit, trust that the other departments are doing what they need to, and you talk to the actors like you are an acting coach as a director. That is the point of directing. And then what I've always, my whole life, been under the assumption that directing was, other than a few times when I was always when I would watch like Edgar Wright movies as a kid, and I'd be like, oh wow, this guy's a good director because he like edits fast and moves the camera around. It's like literally it's other people's jobs. Like he may have had a hand in those things because he took on those things, but it's not his role of direct. You're not praising the direction, because I find it so funny when people are like, a movie looks pretty, and they're like, what? Like it's a Christopher Nolan movie, and it's like, I really didn't like the acting in this movie, but the camera work was good. So good job, Christopher Nolan. You're the best director ever. And it's like it's crazy. Like the thing you just criticized is the only thing Christopher Nolan ostensibly should have done. So sorry, I don't want this to be a rant again. I'm frustrated with film. This is a time capsule of that frustration. I want to make art. My next prospect is, I'm a theme park person. I've had internships with certain theme park companies, and will continue to, and hopefully work my way up into their creative departments and stuff. So that's like the goal next, is just if I have to work into an industry artistically and build up a portfolio there that I'm proud of, to make money on this earth and be happy, without having just like a job that other people consider a side job. Oh, you're working food service. When you're gonna get a real job? I guess theme parks are the next thing for me. I guess next up, and the crossing off what do I want to do with my life list. But I do know that I want to make movies for the rest of my life. Is just gonna look a lot different from other people. And I'm coming to terms with that. And I think this movie, even though I feel gross about the fact that I just ranted for as long as I did, I kind of like the rest of my movies. Maybe I'll cringe at it. Maybe I'll disavow this movie for a while. But hopefully when I'm older, I'll kind of look back on it and say like, hey, I needed that. So, yeah, this has been an interesting time. I apologize if I reiterated any points, wasted any time. If you didn't find this interesting, it wasn't for you. This movie wasn't for you, which is fine. Probably wasn't even for me. This is probably the least favorite movie that I've ever made, but maybe it'll be my favorite sometime soon. I don't know. We'll see. I just have this like post-rant clarity where I'm like, was I cohesive? Was I? And I wasn't, probably. It's just this stream of consciousness is what this is, and I probably should have prefaced that better ahead of time. This is what this movie was, but I don't know how to wrap this up. I want to leave, and I believe that I have the power to leave. Whatever it is that I'm leaving, I don't know. I think you have the power to leave whatever you want to leave too. Now, granted, I think there's a lot of work that needs to be done so that, people aren't born into these systems that they have to leave, or these locations, or, whatever. But I think people can leave if they want to, whatever that means to you. I feel like I know what it means to me, but you can leave. I can leave. I can change things for other people so that they don't even feel a need to, they don't have to leave. But that's going to take a lot of work. It's going to take a lot of work with other people. It's going to take a lot of disruption. It's going to take a lot of political leverage. It's going to take a lot of all this stuff. But, eventually, I think we can leave whatever it is that we need to leave. Whatever's beating us down. And I'm going to leave, but I'm also not going to, beat myself up, and I'm gonna go get a sandwich right now. I hope that they're still open. I'm gonna go get a sandwich. So I'm gonna leave this car, go get a sandwich, which doesn't really mean me leaving in the way that I feel like I've been talking about, but I'm leaving. I don't know. You get the point. If you've been watching this whole thing and you're like, yeah, I know what he means, I really follow. You're like the one guy. It's great. You know what I mean already then, man. Everybody else is checked out by now. So, if you're watching this, I love you. I guess. I don't know. If my family or my girlfriend is watching this, or my friends, I love you. But if you even just took the time to watch this, I love you. So, this is my first Joel Haver Oscars movie thing, whatever. I want to leave, and I'm going to leave, so... Cut. I'll cut I don't know whether to cut the sound first or... Yeah, I'll cut the sound first.